everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. I'm so excited today. We have a really special interview. This is one we've been planning for a couple months now, and I'm really excited it's come to fruition. I'm Rachel, and I'm here talking with producer and director Miranda Bailey. And thank you so much, Miranda, for coming on the podcast.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to be here. Yeah. It's been a long time coming and very, very fun. And several of my friends are not just Hallmark actresses, but Hallmark fans. So it's pretty great to be here.
Yeah, well, we first started talking on Twitter, just back and forth, and I said, "Hey, well, you should come on." I knew you were a big fan of, or we talked about romantic comedies and the ones we liked, and said, "Hey, you should come on the podcast." Like, okay, and so yeah, it's really been really fun just chatting back and forth.
Yeah, it has. Twitter's a fantastic way to get to know people. I have like several friends now, like from Twitter. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
Like real people, actually more than I've met on Facebook. That's for sure.
Yeah. I feel like Facebook is great for interacting with people you already know. Well, not great, but it's satisfactory. Yeah. and
like, oh my God, I look so much better than her at 40.
Yeah. And it's good for like planning events. I feel like it's really solid for like my book club, is all coordinated through that. It's really good with that. And we have like our Hallmarkies Facebook group and our patron group that we do and stuff like that. That's really fun.
I have to join that.
Yeah, you should. You should become a patron. It's awesome. And
I will. Let's link it to me.
Okay, I will. Okay, awesome. I will. Yeah, we have a lot of fun talking about, if anybody's interested in our patron group, we talk about not just Hallmark movies, but all kinds of movies, and we have a ton of fun, or whatever people want to talk about. We have a fun time with that. And so that's good. But yeah, Twitter, I have made a lot of friends. I know people are very cynical sometimes about Twitter, but it really does, because of the hashtags and stuff, it can help you to come in contact with, all the co-hosts for the podcast. I met them all through Twitter, which is amazing.
Yeah, I think if you're a writer and you do not have a Twitter presence, and I don't know if you're a real writer.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
This one guy interviewed me for Huffington Post once, and I was like, "Oh, great! So, what's your Twitter?" He's like, "I'm not on that." I'm like, "What's your Facebook?" He's like, "I'm not on that." I'm like, "So, who's going to read this?" You think? Right. Like, what? Okay, so okay. Glad I spent my time doing that.
Yes. So why don't we like to have our guests just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you became a producer, director, your current roles that you have in your career and how you got there a little bit.
Yeah, thanks. It's weird. I've finally accepted that I'm just a hybrid of things. Because, and I've always been a hybrid of things since I was little, and I never really wanted to pick one thing, but I always finished whatever I started. So it wasn't like waffling. I just had a lot of different interests when it came to storytelling. So, as a young girl, you think, oh, the only way I can really get into that is really being an actress, right? Because that's the ones that you hear about. So then I became an actress. And I studied acting and directing and ceramics in college. and then I moved to Los Angeles to do acting. And I loved it. It was great. But I found that a lot of my roles, I didn't have much control over what the story was. And some of them I didn't really like that I was in.
Yeah.
I just, and then of course I had what every actress has, which is one of those, Me Too moments where you're naked and you have pressure to do something that wasn't in the script and show something you were told that you didn't have to in your nudity writer. And after that experience, I was like, I think I'm going to produce also. So that way I don't have to be big roles. I can be small roles that are in good movies with good, already big actors.
Yeah.
And that way I could kind of enjoy it. And then what happened is because I'm hyper organized person, I became good at producing. And then I felt like I needed to prove myself to other people and to myself as a producer. So I was, really kind of dug my heels into doing that. And then during that time, there was a film that one of my producing partners wanted to direct that I did not want to produce because I did not like the partners he was working with, and I didn't like the project, but I wanted to support him. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to just do like the DVD behind the scenes for you, and I'll do that. And I had been doing the DVD behind the scenes, like EPKs and whatnot, like my whole producing career anyway, just to save money. And oh, by the way, the best one is the one for James Gunn's Super, which it's on YouTube, which you should go check out if you like James Gunn's work. It's behind the scenes of Super, and we like light a guy on fire, and it's like James Gunn's first time he lights someone on fire. It's really fun.
The movie is very not Hallmark. Not Hallmark.
I know. Well, you're right. You're right. Anyway,
just a little warning.
Directed that way by doing like documentary kind of stuff. So this behind the scenes of this very Hallmarky type of movie called The River Why. It was such a poop show. That of the attempts of trying to green a movie set, that it became a very funny documentary. And it's called Greenlit. And for poops and giggles, I submitted it to South by Southwest, and I ended up getting in and premiering there. And then the next thing I knew, I was a director. And then that's kind of how that happened. And then I ended up being able to work. Well, actually, who was in that movie is how I met Nick Loach.
Oh, okay. So,
doing that Greenlit, I met Nikki DeLoach, who had a small role in the movie The River Why, and we became friends. And then I ended up putting her a star of my short film, which is a romantic comedy called Another Happy Anniversary. And it's online and you can see it. And she's amazing in it. And she's like, one of the main reasons I watch Hallmark movies is because of her. And I love her work in Hallmark movies.
Great. Well, that's really, really cool. And so, and I do have to ask about Swiss Army Man. So how the heck did that movie, like, it's such an odd concept that I'm just wondering how that whole came about.
Well, there are just, by that time, by Swiss Army Man time, I had begun to feel confident with my own choices and direction. And I had gone off working on my own, and I did Diary of a Teenage Girl, and I had worked with Richard Gere on this other movie. And one of the producers on one of the Richard Gere movies I was on, like, takes me out to the drinks like they do to start pitching you projects. And, almost all the projects that he pitched me, I'm like, nah, that sounds boring. Or nah, that sounds like I've seen it before. No. And then I literally said to him, I was like, don't you have anything like fresh and weird? And he was like, well, I do have this one about this guy who carries a corpse around, blah, blah, and it's called Swiss Army Man. I'm like, that's fascinating. Who's directing? And he says Daniels. And I was already obsessed with their music video. And I was like, well, great. I'll meet them tomorrow. Have them come into the office. So they came into the office. And I told one of my friends and producing partners, Amanda Marshall, like, hey, we're going to do this movie. Here's what it's about. And they're coming in. She's like, you're joking, right? Is this a joke? And I was like, no. And the script wasn't 100% there yet. And I'm like, just meet them and watch this music video. And then she watched the music video and she met them and she's like, I get it. Okay, I get it. So then we developed it, and we just knew like the only way it could really work is if, we got two very big stars to play the leads. And fortunately, that music video from Turn Down the What, I think it's called, or something like that. Mm-hmm. That music video, these actors, Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe, were big fans of, and they said yes. So it was quite easy to cast it because the directors were so talented, even though the actual written material was just so bizarre. And everyone around town that we tried to find to partner with was like, what's the comp? I'm like, there's not a comp. And they're like, no, we're too scared. So, but we did end up finding, two brave other financiers to come in and, trust the director's vision like we did.
Wow.
and trust,
So,
Coulter to bring it to the end.
yeah. So Daniel Radcliffe, he gets dragged around the whole movie, basically. Was that seems like it would have been kind of painful.
Honestly, that whole shoot was painful for those actors. It is like, it was just incredible what they put themselves through. And also Daniel Radcliffe far exceeded my expectations in terms of his acting ability. I mean, he is so stellar. And that reason, those actors made the movie. I mean, obviously Daniels did everything, and producing was great, blah, blah, blah. But it's just, I don't know what to say. We trekked in with gear on our backs uphill into these woods in Santa Cruz. It was not an easy shoot at all.
It's a crazy movie. People, it's like I've never seen anything quite like it. So if people want to see something different, they should totally check it out. But so I wanted to talk a little bit about your Cherry Picks new site that you guys are starting, and I'm really, as a female critic, I'm very excited about it. And so why don't you tell our audience a little bit about what it is?
Yes, thank you. And this is kind of like the newest version of my hybridness, which is I started a website for basically it was because I made this movie with Lake Bell called I Do Until I Don't. And it's a romantic comedy, and it's very, very lighthearted. And, it's a fun movie. I mean, is it Moonlight? No, but it was never intended to be that. And as I was reading the reviews of the film, she was very happy with it. The way that women wrote about the film was so different than the way men wrote about the film, even though they may have given it the same kind of score. Let's say they both thought it was 2.5 stars. And they obviously scored it differently, but they also wrote about it differently. And I found that the men wrote about how disappointed they were in her as a person and what she should be doing with her work and all this stuff. Whereas the women, I thought, were quite articulate about what they liked and didn't like about the actual film. And I was like, this is interesting. I want to see, is there, where can I find just all the female critics and, reviews and see what is that score? And I kind of looked on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's where I found a time, which was pre-Harvey Weinstein, pre-Me Too, literally just 2 months before. That 78% of the critics were men. And I was like, what the fish? I was like, what the fish? And then I was like, well, that doesn't seem right. And then I thought, the idea kind of came to me. It was its own kind of idea. It was like, hey, well, start one, because there definitely needs to be one. And it can be just, you can just aggregate what the women think about, about the movies and the women critics and do that, because there's a lot more of them that are certified now. 2 years later, we have Cherry Picks up, which is, good. And we just started, I think we launched a year ago or something, and it's been a slow build, but we're doing it right. And there was a lot of news, and Me Too and Time's Up, and a lot of heat on Rotten Tomatoes to open up their windows, and they have, and I'm so glad. But Rotten Tomatoes is for a very specific audience, and I think it's actually great. It's really great for the kind of audience that it is, which is, for the most part, kind of fanboys. And I wanted to start something that was for women, to be able to just kind of go and see what other women thought about film. And we are going to eventually open it to music and video games and VR and all things that is media that women write criticism for. We will be opening it up for that, just to kind of shine a light on all these great women voices out there and great women opinions. And not all women think alike, not at all. And they certainly don't think that differently than men necessarily, but I want them to be heard. And I want them to be able to disagree with me and everybody else and see what people's thoughts are.
Well, I can certainly relate to everything you're saying, because as a female film critic, I have had the highs and the lows of that experience, and especially with franchise films, there is a particular type of fanboy who really resents a female voice coming in and commenting on their product, on their thing. Yeah. And it can be pretty, and we're going to talk about actually with the movie that we're going to be talking about, my experience and what happened. It kind of all meshes into, because I got added to, I've been writing reviews for, I've been creating content online for over a decade, but I've had been writing my reviews since 2014, and I've been on YouTube for practically that long, and it's just the amount of vitriol. I know all YouTubers, especially YouTubers, all get it, but it's a special kind of a thing that for the female critics that we get. And
for sure. Yeah. I mean, I've noticed it. That's why we're, with cherry picks, our goal is to have there be, it's like a safe place for female critics. There's no commenting on it. They are the commenters, the critics themselves. And if you look at a movie, you get to see, this is what New York Times thinks. This is what Rachel Reviews thinks. This is what The Onion thinks, whatever, you'll get to see those reviews and go right to those direct link to those other places, like to your website or your YouTube channel or whatever. But we're not allowing any of that abuse to happen to women, and even with the movies, because even though we have a bowl of cherries, which is the best, 2 cherries, which is definitely go buy the ticket, 1 cherry, which is, worth seeing, not worth going to see, or kind of catch it from your couch, which is almost everything nowadays, right? Mm-hmm. And then we have the pits, but the pits is, it's self-explanatory, but, we're adding a little tag so everyone knows that, everyone loves to see a bad movie every now and then. Mm-hmm. And, having a pits on cherry pits isn't actually the worst thing in the world. Whereas a splat on Rotten Tomatoes feels as a filmmaker like the worst thing in the world. And,
well, I'll just tell you what happened, because, and we'll dive into the movie, because, so I had just gotten added to Rotten Tomatoes in January, which I did not apply for. They found me. They liked my writing. They thought that I had been writing for a site called Rotoscopers, and I still do. Actually, I had 3 articles recently up on there that particularly is animation focused, because that's my love, is animation, and my favorite. And so they had found me, and at first I thought it was a joke. I thought somebody was playing a prank on me, and because I don't have near the subscribers that they say on the website, at least, so I hadn't applied or anything. Anyway, they found me, and so I was super excited, and I went and saw. This was in April. I think it was April. Yeah, I went and saw Shazam, and I didn't care for it. And I knew walking out of it, I was like, oh crap, this is going to be the worst experience of my life. This is not going to be good. And people are going to get really upset. Well, I posted my review, and it happened to be that I was the third rotten review out of probably 100. So I brought the score down from a 95 to a 93, and I was the only woman of those 3.
How dare you?
I know. I was the only woman of the 3, and it was brutal, the experience that I experienced. I thought I had experienced it all, creating content for 10 years, but nothing prepares you for what happened. I had to have the police come out twice because of threats to my life. It was crazy. And I was so worked up because I just I don't know, just because of everything. And all of a sudden I was going from
it's scary.
being
It's
a
scary,
small creator to all of a sudden like dealing with all of this is a huge leap. Like I feel like most people, it's like kind of bit by bit by bit by bit, and they kind of grow organically. And I still am like technically a small YouTuber, and this is on my other site, my other content, and so I got some saying that they were going to find out when my next screening was, and they were going to bring a semi-automatic weapon, and we're gonna kill everybody in the screening because of me. I mean, it was crazy, and I wasn't sleeping because I was just so upset and so frustrated, and I felt like all of my points were valid, but it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't, to those kind of people, it doesn't matter what you say. It's just, how dare, you're biased, you know. And it's so funny because people say, oh, she's biased, and I'm like, I love Wonder Woman so much, and it's literally one of my favorite movies of all time. And I gave negative reviews to Aladdin, to Lion King, to Spider-Man Far From Home.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, it's art, right? It's art, and it's subjective. Yeah. And filmmakers, and reviewers take what they do very seriously. And I mean, at this point in my career, since I'm not a critic, but like I am a friend of a critic, and I'm a friend of a voice, even if they don't like my movies. I think they have every right to be able to say what there is, because it's art. Yeah. And I think honestly, like, we all have to take ourselves as filmmakers a little less seriously, and as writers of films a little less seriously, because exactly what you're saying, because it becomes this weird, intimidating thing where it's like our voice becomes so important because it's being shut out, but it's scary. And, and it should be okay to disagree. It should be, because, it started in politics and now it's moved into art. You're not allowed to, disagree with the majority of what other critics are thinking or saying.
Well, and it's something that sports dealt with for a long time. These fans who internalized the team as part of their identity and who they are. It's the same thing that you're getting now, but it's with corporate movie makers. It's crazy. I mean,
even like indie films. I mean,
yeah, it's true.
My movie Amazing Jonathan, which comes out on Friday, which I produced. The directors, obviously like very bummed out that, by the way, all the reviews that people don't like are guys reviewing it. And we just got one that was a girl that liked it. And I'm like, people just see things differently. And, you just have to just like take it for a grain of salt. Cause frankly, I want to see a movie based on the trailer. And that's the way it is. So I don't know.
And you should find critics that you
identify with.
Exactly. That you identify with, because even if you you don't agree with them, you know how they think. You start to get to know how they think, and you're like, this one person almost never likes cheesy romances. I like cheesy romances. I probably would like this movie because I've come to know him or her enough. And that's what Rotten Tomatoes really should be doing is,
and that's what we're doing. We're going to be able to, you'll be able to eventually, because obviously it's step by step, where Critic Portal's next, but you'll be eventually able to follow the critics like in your cherry basket that are your favorites. And you'll be able to see, so like, let's say, I want to add you and Carla Renata and Nola Dargis all into my cherry basket. And like, I don't even need to read any of the other ones because I know for sure I want to read yours.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, when Love to the Rescue, which is the movie we're going to be talking about, when it came out, was the weekend that the height of this insanity.
Oh, no.
Yes. and so I had not slept in like 48 hours at least. I was super wound up, super stressed, and my brother was over because I was scared, and it was just an incredibly insane learning experience and an interesting experience. But I just needed to calm down because I'd gotten really riled up. And
you're like, I'm going to put on Love to the Rescue.
Yes, and it really is true. And I was because my brother doesn't like Hallmark movies, and he's like, I'll watch it. So we were watching it, and I'm like, this is so good. This is such a great movie. And he's like, yeah, it's pretty good. I like this. But I don't know. I had a very emotional response to it, so it was interesting to go back and watch it now, and to see how I would respond now when I wasn't so kind of wound up. I was thinking, is it going to hold up? Is it what's going to happen? And I think it did hold up really well. I think this movie is very well written, and I actually got a chance to interview the writer, Sarah Montana. And she is a phenomenal human being. If you want to hear a really inspirational TED Talk, she had a horrible tragedy in her life with somebody actually murdering her mother and brother. It's horrible. And she talks in the TED Talk about her experience and how she was able to forgive and be able to heal in the right ways. It's really good. Anyway, and so she was incredible, and it was her first project for Hallmark, and I'm so excited about her. I think that this movie is very well written.
It was really fun to watch it, and I can see now, based on what you're saying, what you were going through, about how you could identify with certain characters going through certain things, like
Well, and especially even like little things, like the fact that she's an animator, and animation is my heart and soul, and I love. So there was just like little things that are really curtailed to me, and I think that the script is so good about even just the details of calling back little things, like the fact that he's always laminating everything. Like, not all scripts are kind of that detailed in sort of developing the character, because sometimes it's just like, oh, he's a jerk, she's gonna be the sort of manic pixie dream girl, gonna get him out of his shell, and sometimes that can be fine and that can be good. But I think that this was a lot better as far as really developing these people as characters, and we're gonna talk about some of that. But what did you think of Love to the Rescue? You just saw it.
Yes, of course I saw it. I mean, I had a lot of fun, just because I think also because like of Nikki and knowing Nikki so well. And, she is just that same person. Like, she is just like a quirky, whimsical, positive thinking girl, so it was fun. She had let me know kind of in advance that she was able to, like, that she was given a lot more freedom than she has been in some of the other projects in terms of like comedy. And so there was definitely some parts that I laughed out loud, that I was just like, when she falls backwards out of her boss's office, like, I just thought that was so perfect.
Yeah.
Just that kind of like prat fall, like that stuff was just really funny. And I mean, for me, I was literally like, would you kiss already? Like, why did it take them so long to kiss? Like, I just felt like that was drawn out so long. I was like, oh my God, how I have to watch another commercial. I just want to see them kiss. And then finally they did in the end. And it was like right when my daughter walked in the room, and she's like, ew. And I'm like, oh no, come on. We're going to watch it again, because there's a really great crossfade to the hand, and the hand goes up at the end, and it's very subtly shows that she's got a wedding finger on it. That's amazing. And I played it over again, so.
That's funny.
That. I was like,
that is a classic Hallmark trope. They've been getting out of it a little itty bitty bit this last year, of having maybe like a mid movie kiss. Plus, like, it adds, when they have an early kiss, I think it really helps to sort of add dramatic tension, because now you have to deal with it, and you have to, it sort of adds a layer to me that I think is interesting and fun. But it is a classic Hallmark trope that you don't get the kiss until the last 30 seconds, that there's usually what we call a near kiss, where they didn't do one in this movie, but where they get really close.
They would kiss when they were watching the stars.
And there'll be like a phone ring or something, and that always drives me crazy, because I'm just like, if Michael Rady is about to kiss me, I am not stopped. Like, what? Are you kidding me? But how did you feel about the chemistry between Michael Rady and Nikki DeLoach in this?
Oh, I mean, I think they're good, but I haven't seen a movie where Nikki doesn't seem to have chemistry with someone. I just think that she's such an, nice, likable person that it's pretty hard not to have chemistry with her as an actor. And if you don't, then you're a dick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, when I was interviewing her, there's some interviews where they're totally pleasant and amazing, and I'm so grateful. But then there's others where I'm like, I feel like I'm a better person from talking with you. And that Nikki and Sarah were both people like that we had such good conversations. And I really like that they made her an animator. They gave her a unique job, and I felt like they were really good about supporting the careers of both of the characters. That's not always the case in Hallmark. Like, a lot of times a character can get kind of job shamed, for lack of a better word, that it's like, they have to
I guess
to raise a living. It's like, yes, they should be devoted to Christmas. I get that, but but they also need to.
Well, what was great is they were not stereotypical characters.
Yeah,
stereotypical men and stereotypical women, and they were not stereotypical single parent characters either.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably what made the film good, because I mean, you could take that concept and that idea and definitely destroy it.
Yeah.
So good for Sarah, for being able to, flesh out each, I'd say, like, character trait, and not make it generalistic.
And it's kind of fun. Sarah actually has a small role as one of the workers in Nikki's office.
She's not the gorgeous black girl, is she?
No.
Like the most gorgeous thing in the world.
She's like a cute girl. Yeah, she was gorgeous. She's like a cute girl with brown hair. Anyway, so that's kind of fun. But yeah, so he is your rules guy. He thinks he likes ordering things. He likes rules. He likes boundaries, and she is your sort of more free spirited. But it's funny because she still has her sort of rules and she still has her boundaries for sure. But she wants to be thinking outside the box, and she sees him, and so they both want this dog. There's only one dog at the rescue event. And I actually also got to interview the girl who plays the shelter person. Her name's Haviland Stillwell. She was great. She was fun. And anyway, so they're trying to. They both have kids, and they're trying to share this dog and see where it belongs, what home. And I do think that would be a very stressful situation in the real world, trying to share this dog. I don't think it would necessarily work, but the dog is so cute. And the kids, I thought, were Hallmark almost always casts great child actors, and these two I thought were really good, both of them.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was a unique concept, frankly. It was original concept. Yeah. Like, two kids like a dog, and neither parent can say no or wants to fight for it or let their kid down. So they decided to share a dog. I never saw that before.
Yeah. And
they fall in love. I get it. It's kind of Lady and the Trampy.
Yeah, kind of a little bit. And he works for the transportation department. And one of my favorite lines in the whole movie was when he's like, he wants to go on the hike so that he can check out the traffic signal. So he was just doing its job, which I thought was really funny. And she's like, what? And so he wants her to get involved in the PTA. He's the head of the PTA, and she's like, "Oh, I'm a single parent and with a full-time job." He's like, "So am I," and and they both kind of help each other, sort of not only obviously fall in love and co-raise this dog and whatever, but they also help each other with their careers, which is kind of unique. I feel like every once in a while you'll have say one character is a chef and the usually the one of them will be like, "Ooh, you should try more home cooking," or so there'll be like little things maybe. But I really liked the way that both of them equally, like, neither one was sort of your Scrooge type character. They both they both sort of needed inspiration, not just in their
there wasn't actually any bad guy in that movie.
Yeah, there wasn't.
That's a Hallmark thing.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Sometimes there's the over the top bad guy. That usually it's like we'll talk about his girlfriend in a bit, but sometimes they'll be it's a rom-com thing, they'll be dating this loser and you're like, why? Why are you?
Yeah, I was surprised they didn't make his girlfriend like more bitchy or evil or whatever. And they actually made her like just normal. And it's hard to say, like, I don't know if I liked it because it was like a little boring on her. Like she was like a little boring character wise. But then at the same time, I was glad that they didn't like make her what I thought they were going to do. Like, and a lot of times cheat on him or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And a lot of times you'll have that the girl has lost her way in the city and she'll have her city big man of business boyfriend who and then she'll go back to her hometown for Christmas usually, and she'll realize that she's a terrible person in the city and she needs to go back, and she'll make the high school boyfriend. And in fact, there was a really funny thing on op-ed or whatever. That one of he's like, I just got engaged to my girlfriend, but I'm really scared. I'm a lawyer in the city. If she goes back to the country, this is going to be terrible. And because that's a very common thing. But with them, his girlfriend, it was pretty nuanced. That obviously they seemed like nice. They seemed like nice people, but they just weren't super connecting. Like the fact that he had no idea that she was allergic to dogs is kind of your first thing starting out. You're like, oh
yeah, or that she also was like pretending to be like so sweet and like, oh, everything's fine.
Yeah,
not wanting to rock the boat. It's like, get real,
right? Yeah, it's like you're gonna have to live with the dog, right? But yeah, and another very, very interesting thing about this movie that's very uncommon is for her to have this relationship with her ex.
Oh, yeah.
Which I loved. I thought that was great. Because usually another Hallmark trope is that they is the thoughtful, handsome widower. Because you have a lot. And so for somebody to be actually divorced is somewhat uncommon. And
I did get the handsome widower.
Yeah, they did actually. You're right, but it was unique for somebody to have this relationship, and I really liked their chemistry together. I liked the dialogue between the two of her and her ex together. I thought that was really nice.
Yeah, he was great. He was great.
And like he says later,
he's really suppressing that Russian accent that lives deep down inside him.
Yeah, he said, he said that you've never had an adult, you've never been in love as an adult, which I thought was an interesting moment. That so that was very unique and very cool. And they go and they go on the hiking to check out the traffic spot. She says, I award you 0 fun. That was funny. And also what was really cute too is that her daughter was much more like him and his son was much more like her, which was really fun.
I like that too, because then you saw they would be able to get along and live together because they already basically do.
Yeah. I loved when the little girl's like, oh, you laminated it? Like, yes.
Yeah. PowerPoints.
Yeah. She did the PowerPoint. That's right. That was really cute. And find out that he wants to get into become an affordable housing advocate and fight against developers, which is also a very Hallmarky thing. There's nothing worse in the world of Hallmark than a condo. Somebody's going to tear down the family store or the Christmas tree farm or the whatever it might be to build condos.
Oh, God forbid. I mean, I agree with them.
Yeah. So, and she says to him that there's nothing boring about that, and that he should pursue that. And he's just kind of like, you have a job. A job's a job. And so she's
he's fine in his complacency.
Yeah. So she kind of working to get some passion, and because she says, I'm not crazy, I'm passionate, is sort of her thing, which is really cute. And they're both kind of complacent. She's complacent in her love life, and he's complacent in his work. Yeah. And then when she actually
overcome that.
Yeah, when she actually does attend the PTA meeting, I thought that was really funny, because she's just like, we should do Candyland and have like it be really fancy, and he's like, whoa, slow down, we shouldn't. And that, I don't know, you just saw quite a bit of them for a movie that's not that long. You saw quite a bit of character growth from them, and a lot of different dynamics of them working together. And as opposed to a lot of things where it's like the big festival, they're I don't know, they're making cookies or whatever for the festival. And there were quite a few different points about where they met and where they were kind of interacting. And I liked that a lot. And I think it was him that said the world is a lot less scary when no matter where you go, you know where you belong. I think that was a nice moment. And she gets really, really scared of this. She can feel it's like building this relationship, and then they go on their stargazing date. And I think you weren't a big fan of her dress, so I'm guessing.
Oh no, I wasn't a fan of her dress. No, that awful red thing. No,
yeah, it was.
But the one my favorite awful outfit that she had was these like high-waisted like stirrup pants with blouse tucked in, and then a really long sweater as she's walking the dog to meet him. And I was like,
oh yeah,
I took a photo of it, and I was like, you can never wear this in real life. And she's like, I know. She's like, that was my least favorite outfit, and it was approved by 4 different people. And I was like, yeah, well, I mean, that's the way it goes, I guess.
The red dress to me felt a little granny. It felt like something my grandma would wear. Oh my God.
I was like, whoa, don't go overboard there, Nikki, in your sexy outfits. I mean, you should see her. She wears this really sexy outfit in the movie.
Oh,
the short I did with her.
That's
another
funny.
Happy anniversary. So funny. So she's got a great bod. They really needed to dog her down.
Yeah, I mean, she could have had a pretty dress. It's not that she has to. It wasn't a very flattering dress, for sure. I agree with you there, but it was a cute scene, because not only did it show that he was taking her on a date and everything, but that he had really been listening to her and was trying to help her with her project. And I thought even the whole dialogue on the date about how he sees the story of the constellation as being hopeful and exciting, and she sees it as being sad, because he sees it as even if you only got to love once a year, or even once in your life, like you've gotten to do it, where she sees it as you only got to do it once. Like they're different perspectives. I thought was really good.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of those kinds of like sentences and stuff that were very poetic.
That's and
but I mean, not cheesy, I mean, I liked them.
Yeah, I felt like it felt pretty authentic, especially because she's working on this story of this this love story, which she doesn't see as a love story. So it made sense that he would talk about that, and that they would have that. And of course he has the laminated constellations, which I just loved. I loved how they kept bringing that through the whole it was really cute to me. And maybe because I secretly love laminating stuff too. I don't know. But would you say you are more, I'm guessing you're more on the Nikki DeLoach side of things, not the Michael Rady side, as far as rules and how you would...
I don't know. I probably have a little of both of them.
Yeah.
Beside me.
Yeah,
I like a good laminated piece of paper, just like everybody else.
I love I mean, in some ways, some people would say that because I'm somewhat cluttered about stuff, and my house isn't the most orderly, but like it all makes sense to me when I know where everything is. So it's sort of a weird thing, but yeah, I love calendars, and I love kind of organizing everything in my own kind of way, and if I have a really hard time just like letting projects go. And just like, okay. Whereas one of my friends, she's a blogger for quite a while, and she just deleted it and started a whole new blog, and that like seriously hurt my heart because I'm like, all that work, why did you do that? And she's like, oh, I just wanted a fresh start, and I'm like, wow, we see the world totally differently. I'm just like, wow, that would be trauma. I could never do that. And I don't know. So it's just I'm very much a completionist with things. Like I have a really hard time just saying, nope, I'm not going to finish that, or I'm not going to do that. And other people, that's not a problem for them. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm probably more like you. I'm working on my no ability.
It comes in handy, though, especially as a podcaster for Hallmark.
You're practicing. We're all, as women, getting better at it. We're more allowed to say no now. It's just still, you have to have a smile on your face. Oh, thank you.
So it's interesting. Like I see both sides because I try to have sort of that, but I really don't like spur of the moment things. I don't really love being surprised in general, but yeah, so I see both sides, like you said, but I probably am more on his side, I would have to say, as far as career, that's for sure. But anyway.
And I'm her.
But it was
making Swiss Army Man, not Pretty Little Bird.
Right, yeah. But it was so cute when she made him that little animated resume, so he could go. And I loved that. It was really cute, and just I loved little moments where they were flirting, and she's the whole like cheese puffs or everything. I think that's really cute. And then she comes back and she's all freaking out. Like, was I flirting? I don't know. Was I? And yeah, that was cute. I can relate to that because I don't know, just that awkwardness, especially on a first date, or just I don't know. Because you want to be yourself, but you also don't want to look like a ridiculous. So it's sort of a I don't know.
Well, they became friends first, so it was like easier for them. Yeah.
But even that can also have its own level of awkwardness because all of a sudden it's like, oh, now we're more like what's happening. It can.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna get out of here. I have a great idea. Bye.
Yeah, that's right.
How convenient, Nikki.
Yeah, and so she
waiting for the kiss.
And they talk about she talks about we've got to be so careful, got to take it slow, and then she basically like breaks up with him. She's like, I can't risk. She blames it on her daughter. Yeah.
No, but I mean, I think that was noble. Obviously, yes, it was more than just the daughter, and the daughter's fine. But I mean, I think all moms feel, especially divorced moms, feel, not all of them, obviously, but I think that that's definitely a thought. I mean, that's why people stay with their marriages until the kids are grown. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like all about the kids. And I like that part. I like that part a lot because it felt very truthful.
It did. It felt very true to her character. And, and I liked the fact too that he was like, I get it. You're a mom. I get it. And he was, normal about it. He wasn't all, but then she gets the inspiration. She's like, I have to fix the beginning. I don't have to fix the ending of the short. And so she does. And he bars her from being on the PTA, and she's just sitting. I thought that was really funny. She's sitting there just like trying to sharpen pencils and while her people are working. And And so, and then I also loved when she's like, hate watching the rom-com. And then her ex comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You just barely
We've all done that.
Yeah. He's like, you just barely met. What are you doing? That was really funny. And it was nice. So the ex says, we raised a resilient, smart kid. I don't think that's what you're worried about. So he was a really good BFF for her character, because they always have a BFF in these rom-coms.
Yeah. So, no, he was. I liked him.
He was really good.
And he looked like a Russian mobster.
And and she says, what if I'm no good at it? He's like, nobody's good at it.
I love that. I love that.
It was really cute. Because I mean, as hard as it is to date as a single person, I can't even imagine how much harder it would be to get back into the game after you've been out of it. Because I don't know, you just think, okay, I'm done. I'm done with that part of my life, and then to have to get back. Oh, that would be horrible.
Yeah.
That would be really hard. And so she turns it in. The boss says that she loves it, that it far exceeds anything that she could have imagined. She's going to submit it to the festival. That was really fun. And she decides that she's going to invite him to the festival. And it was so cute when she takes the invitation to him, and the daughter has already sent him an invitation. He's like, I got 2 invitations. I better go.
Yeah.
That's really cute, I thought. Because I think I could totally see that little girl doing that with her personality. That was really cute. So they go to the screening, and that was all really sweet and fun, and they're talking about love, and she says it can shake.
Yeah, and you're just like, kiss already.
She says it can shake parts of you awake that you thought you had tucked away forever. Love is one of the ways we show each other we belong. Everyone deserves to belong. So that was really sweet.
Oh, don't cry.
Yeah, it was so good. But you must have loved, though. The kiss was great, though, at the end.
Oh, my God. I played it twice, but I was literally like texting her. I'm like, how much longer do I have to wait until you get to kiss this guy?
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Yeah. Because it was a total, what we call it a shut up and kiss me kiss. Because we did a whole podcast on Hallmark kisses, and because she's just going right, talking, and he just goes for it, and those are always really good.
That's a total shut up and kiss me kiss.
Yeah. So I think that they are going to have a great relationship. I think they're going to be a very stable couple.
Oh my God, they're perfect for each other.
Right? And and those kids are just going to be great. And so I really enjoyed this movie on the rewatch. I thought it was great. I think it is my favorite of the year from Hallmark. And one of my, I don't know, it might be one of my favorites, but yeah, it's so sweet, and I liked them so much, and I think the writing is so good. So yeah, I would give it a 5 crowns, highest rating that I could give it. I really like it a lot. I think it's great. So for a Hallmark movie, I always believe in judging. You judge something. For
you got to. I mean, for a Hallmark movie, I thoroughly enjoyed it so much so that I said, I was like, Gabby, to my babysitter and my daughter, I'm like, you guys should watch it. You would really like it.
Yeah. Because I think you should judge something for what it's trying to be, what it's trying to accomplish. Because there are people are like, how can you like Hallmark movies and not like some Oscar baity movie or whatever? And
but they're different. You're in a different mood for different things, and that's exactly why I started Cherry Picks.
Yeah, it's like one is
as women, it's different.
Yeah,
we have different moods.
Yeah, one is successful
in about 1 minute.
Yeah, like one is successful in doing what it's trying to do. One is not. And one may be technically better made. You could make that argument, I guess. But that doesn't really matter if they're not successful in doing what they're trying to do, in my opinion, at least. So I don't know. I really like this one a lot, and it just does such a good job of really respecting its characters, and you can tell when the people all involved really love the characters, and there's sort of a fondness. I love the director Hirokazu Korida from Japan, and he makes wonderful films, and all of his movies there's always a real affection for his characters, and you never feel a sense of cynicism about them. And he did a beautiful movie last year called Shoplifters, which was so good, but I think I got a little bit of a sense of that with this. And so anyway, it was so much fun to talk about it with you. I really appreciate, and I'm so excited for Cherry Picks. Definitely keep us posted, and I'm excited to be as involved as possible. Anything I can do to help, and everybody should check it out. We'll have the link in the description, and the link for the Patreon also in the description. And if people want to follow you and Cherry Picks on social media, how can they do that?
Yes. Well, our Cherry Pick handles are at the Cherry Picks for all social. We also have a Pinterest.
Oh, fun.
So, which is fun. I mean, I don't think I've gone on there for a while, but I love Pinterest, and like Hallmark stuff is really great for Pinterest too. And then I'm Miranda M. Bailey. So everywhere at Miranda M. Bailey, except for on Facebook, I'm Miranda Bailey Film.
Great. Well, maybe we can have you on when it gets closer to Christmas again, because
oh my God, I would love to watch
that. Would be yeah. That would be really, really fun. Well, great. And yeah, you can follow me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and Rotten Tomatoes, and Cherry Picks. Yeah, you can follow me there. Check it out, and you can follow the podcast all over the place. And if you're listening on iTunes, please give us your ratings and reviews. If you're listening on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and give us some nice comments. We love it, and we love hearing your thoughts. And if you have any comments about this movie or about film criticism in general and female film criticism, we'd love to talk about it. So chat us up on Twitter or in the comment section. That would be great. And they even do have a funny line where she says in the movie, where she says that never research on the internet without mommy, and never ever look at the comments.
So my son was watching that with me, and then he decided to leave after that. And he goes, "You see that, Wilder? Her daughter is not allowed to be on the internet without her mom around and or read the comments." And he goes, "Mom, that's absurd. She's 11. He's 11. She's 11. And sorry, but that is over-parenting. And I'm not going to be he said something like, "I'm not going to stand here and watch you feel guilty about yourself while whatever." And then he walked out with his iPad. I'm like, okay, bye.
So cute. I love it. That's really adorable.
Nikki's characters are always better parents than me, but I mean, so is everybody, frankly.
But isn't it funny, because she's got all the rules too, and she thinks she doesn't. So that's what makes it.
Oh, you're right. You know what? That's an interesting character flaw thing, like little mix up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she totally does, because she has all these things. Oh, I'm not going to date until until she's older, till she's got all these rules. And he's more like, well, let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
They complement each other perfectly. Yeah. Well, it was really great talking to you as well, Rachel.
Thank you. And yeah, we'll definitely have you on again. And everybody listening, let us know your thoughts, and we'll talk to you all later. Bye. This podcast was brought to you by Hallmarkies for Hallmarkies. For more information about how you can leave your mark on Hallmarkies, visit hallmarkiespodcast.com. Link in the description.